and welcome to Hixxy Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card with some inking and some sprays, and we're using this lovely die from Elizabeth Craft Designs. It's called Garden Scene. Now it comes in two pieces, like so. Take this out there. Woo! There's two pieces. And so you get the an outer edge. Now this will not cut in, so if you use just this, you will just get a matte that sort of size, which is quite a nice die on its own for matting and layering. And then you get this die, which is the inner, so you can cut this on its own into something, or you can use it in conjunction with this to cut out, which is what we've done here. It's a really simple, straightforward card. It looks really effective, but really easy to do. So let's have a look at how we need to do this. So we're going to create the background, and I've got some card here, some stamping card. And the colours I'm using, because I wanted a nice bright blue, so I've gone for Mermaid Lagoon, and a nice sort of pale but bright green. So I've gone for cracked pistachio, and I'm going to start by inking the piece of card with those two. I'm moving my inks off because I kind of like to turn. It doesn't matter too much if I get ink on the back of this, but I kind of prefer not to if I can get away with it. So I'm also going to grab myself a piece of paper. I'm going to just fold it down just so that I can put my fingers on here and hold the card without getting the ink on my fingers. But it's more than about just getting the ink on my fingers. It's then I won't then put inky fingers anywhere else, and I won't get finger marks in my ink. So we're going to start with Mermaid Lagoon, and I am going to just get this out and sort of roughly work out where I want this to come. So probably just a little bit below halfway, but we'll see. We can keep bringing the thing in. So it's quite a lot of inking, which you know, I don't have a problem with. And for me, if your brushes are loaded up nicely, it isn't sort of too much of an issue. If you're using, you know, depends what you're using it on. Some cards will drink your ink. But I can kind of see this is sitting nicely. So, you know, it allows me to blend. I'm not looking for perfect, but I don't want really mottled either. I want quite an intense blue background here. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to just do is grab my die and see, because I can always move, you know, just sort of change where I want to cut this out from. Well, it's not cutting out from, it's where I'm going to lay this on. So yeah, it's enough. So I'm going to try and get a slightly straighter line along there. Okay, now I'm going to just turn them out, so I'm not disturbing all that ink that's on the thing. And then I'm going to get my my bit of paper out here, and this is the colour that I always seem to struggle to get enough into the brush. I don't know whether it's this particular brush, but I do struggle a little bit. But it's worth the perseverance. I think maybe this brush dries out a little bit. Maybe even that my ink pad is a little less juicy than some of my other colours. Could be any or all of those things. So I know there's plenty of ink there, just that maybe the top has dried out a little bit from me leaving lids off most likely. But we'll keep going. So once I've got this sort of end covered in the cracked pistachio, I'm going to then blend the two in the middle to get more of a merge, and then I will spray over the top, predominantly with the Mermaid Lagoon over the cracked pistachio ink, and the cracked pistachio over the Mermaid Lagoon ink, just sort of to give it a little bit of contrast. Not, you know, completely, but the other thing I will do before is I will give this a bit of a heat set. Oxides benefit from a bit of a heat set, and then they layer even more beautifully. You can see now I've been working this a little while, my brush is starting to be nicely loaded. It's becoming a lot easier. So I'm only just bringing that up too, and then I'm going to take my Mermaid Lagoon brush. I'm not put any more ink on, I'm just going over the edge. Okay. And then I'm going to put some more on here and take this one back over as well. So I've now got the two starting to merge, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I've got quite a little harsh line there. And then go over the whole lot like this, bringing a bit more blue down and a bit more of the green up. Okay, so I have my ink on, which I'm quite happy about, and I'm going to put the lids back on those. Sorry, my arm is right across everything there. Apologies. And then I'm going to bring in my cracked pistachio and Mermaid Lagoon Distress sprays. Now I could get my box out to spray, but I'm not going to. So I'm just going to give these a bit of a shake. I'm just going to grab a piece of kitchen towel. I did, when I made the sample, I didn't shake the blue, was it the blue or the green well enough? And it's quite interesting to see just the, you know, because the two parts separate. It was interesting to see that in the first spray, I didn't get the full kind of chalky effect. This is what happens though when you shake them up and down like this, which is why I'm putting a piece of kitchen towel over the nozzle. So if you're going to shake them up and down, take the lid off, put some kitchen towel on before you do so. Okay, so we're probably going to get ink everywhere, but we'll go with it. So there we go. See, I'm not even having to spray very hard there. And a bit down here. The harder you press down, sort of finer mist you get. Sort of the sort of less you spray. Oh, that's quite full on. I don't want to lose my green. So I'm just going to block that a little bit because that was quite full on there. But we'll see. I think we'll go with that. Put the lids back on, and I'm going to dry that off with my heat gun. Oh, just knocking everything over. Looking to see how much overspray I've got here. Quite a lot, but we're going to go with it. So I'm going to lift this up, get my heat gun. I'm just going to heat set this. And the thing with making backgrounds like this, you're never going to get the same thing twice. It's just, yeah, it just never happen. You'll never ink in quite the same way. You'll never spray in quite the same way. So you're always going to get something different. The way you've got bigger drops, you're going to get more sort of pronounced splodges when it's dry. Just going to keep going on this. Now remember that this is the hard work now. We've done, all we've got to do now is to cut out our die, choose how we want to position it over our card and cut that out, and you know, we're done. I can see I'm holding this too long. I don't know if you can see that on the overhead, because I was too busy chatting to you and not really looking where I was going. My card started to steam a little bit. Just be a little bit careful when you are heat setting things, not to do it for too long. Right, so I'm just going to move that out the way and I will clean it up in a bit. I am, however, just going to give my 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 oh, still can't say cutting mat, a little spray, just to get rid of any excess of the ink. So that's there, mostly dry. That can finish drying. What we need to do now is to cut out the die. So I have my base card. It's quite a lightweight card I've used here, but it's a nice textured card. So we're going to put our outer die down. Just going to fix that with a little bit of tape, and then I'm going to bring my inner die in and just shuffle that till I'm happy that it's in the right place. Now this is a big die, lots of detail, so we are going to run it through with the magnetic shim and also offset, you can see, because if I do it that sort of straight on, doesn't really like it. So try and sort of, if you've got room, and sometimes the projects that you're doing you don't have room, it just doesn't happen, but hopefully then this will go through. See what we get out the other end. So like I said, this is our base card, and all we've got to do now, once we've got our die cut, is to decide where on this that we're going to actually place it. Okay, so looks like that's nicely cut out. So I'm going to put that over there and there. Okie dokie, right. All just falling out. Just be careful, because there are some very fine bits and very fine sort of joins, and I don't want to be yanking or pulling them out. So there we have, that's cut. Let's just get rid of the mess, and then we need to decide exactly where we're going to cut our piece of card. So I quite like doing it in this way, where the piece of card becomes the next layer, if you like, as well as the inner. I think it just kind of blends it all in really nicely. So the first thing I want to do is decide where I want to position this. I think kind of there, because it's because of that block there. I don't really want that just sitting above the fence. So and we might go a little bit higher up into there. Okay, so that's where I want it to go. So I've got to kind of also work out whereabouts on my piece of card that's going to sit. So I'm sitting it like that. I can see where this is. I can see the edge of my card, and I'm just going to put a couple of lines like so there. Okay. And then I think I'll cut those first. I think I will cut those two first, rather than trying to do, rather than trying to do too many steps in one go. So I'm going to chop down there, and I'm going to chop down there. Okay, let's just put that there. So I now know that, you know, this fits this way. Now, ooh, thing put under my now I need to decide where, in terms of this way, that I want this to sit. So it's kind of there. Make sure. Not like. So I think what we might do is bring that one down a bit, bring that up a little bit. I think we'll just cut it. No, I do want more green. Right, I'm faffing now. Do I want more blue? Do I want more green? I think I want a bit more green, so we're going to bring it up that way. Again, sort of put it so that I can see the card underneath and my placement there. And it does need to go down that way a little bit. So I'm going to cut it there and oops, there. Right, we'll cut it there, and then fingers crossed we should be in the right place. One's there, and then there, and then first of all we can see, have we got a nice mat here? Yeah, we do. Is it straight? No, it's not. And I'm just going to take it back onto the guillotine. The problem, this is a problem I have a lot of the time, because the card bows, and then when you lie it down, it doesn't always sit straight. So I am literally now just going to go back round and make sure that all my edges, and you can see I'm already in that kind of, it's not quite there. And that one needs to come across that way. So this is going to end up perhaps a little bit smaller than I originally anticipated, but the idea is that at least it will look pretty square. So let's go with that and let's have a look and see. If you do have the time to allow, oh, there you go, that looks better, the card to dry naturally, then it always helps. But that's now looking a lot better. So we're going to stick that down, and then this goes on the top, and then we're pretty much done. So this glue first. Oh, sticking to me, get off of me. Okay, so okay, and I'm going to move my guillotine up. And I'm going to a piece of paper, and then running my hands over the top so I'm not sort of disturbing any ink that might still be wet. And you can see there is still wet on there. It's got enough on my hands as it is. Okay, right, last thing then is to, let's use this bit of paper again, is to get some glue onto this. Now you could use a spray. I'm going to use my wider nozzle where I can, but then get out my thinner nozzle for the bits that need glue but are a little too narrow for my thicker glue nozzle. Okay, so I'll probably do those like so, and then there's my thin one. So, because I want some glue on these little flowers and the leaves. So, where you can use the bigger one, then do, because obviously it's it makes quite a difference in terms of the speed of getting your glue on. But you know, what you don't want to do, which I probably have in some places still anyway, is over glue too much. So just putting little bits on, just so that all these little bits are going to stick down. The leaves here, that little branch. Where have I missed any? No, I think I've got everywhere now. Right, so make sure I've got this right, and then try not to get glue everywhere. This then goes down onto our background, and I am going to get. Ooh, I just squashed a bit of foliage. Yeah, a little bit there. Squished a little bit of foliage over. Good old press down. There we go. Oh, it's not stuck. Oh, must have missed the bird with the glue. So let's put a little bit of glue there. And then all I've got left to do is to put on a little sentiment. So what I did was to stamp the sentiment onto an offcut from my piece of card. This is Julie Hickey. Julie Hickey Designs Everyday Sentiments. In fact, I might use a little bit of 3D glue gel to just get over that. Yeah. So I what you don't want to be doing is stamping sentiment onto something white, because it's just going to be too much of a contrast. So look for a lighter area of your inked background to actually stamp your sentiment onto. So this card, we used our lovely Distress Oxides in Mermaid Lagoon and Cracked Pistachio. That's the bit I twisted just now. The Oxides and the Oxide sprays to create our background. And then we used our Elizabeth Craft Designs Garden Scene die, literally to just cut them both out, and it sticks over the top. Really simple. Check out the channel. There's another video on this, using it with in a different way with pattern papers. So have a look at that one, and I'll see you over there. Thank you for joining me.